Hey, this is Sam Black with a Vintage Masters sealed deck. Looking over my colors briefly, the main draws for white are Jareth, Piana, Exile, Sultari Troopers okay, a couple of Sultari Emissaries, a couple of Benevolent Bodyguards if I'm doing an enchantment thing where I care about protecting my creatures. Overall, pretty weak. Blue has a bunch of big flyers and 2 killer whales and a cloud djinn, a lot of scriveners, 2 repels, deep analysis, choking tethers, Serendipity and Sea Drake, 2 manowars, 3 aquamoebas, brainstorm. So blue looks really good. Black has 2 predatory night stalkers, living death, 2 Urborg uprising, scourge familiar, defiler, Khazardix is okay, mesmeric fiend, nightscape familiar, some 2/2 aggressive creatures, reanimate, putrid and paralyze. Pretty good. Mostly the 2 predatory night stalkers and to some extent the living death. I expect red to be pretty bad and sealed almost all the time. There are some goblins, but not really enough to make goblins a thing. Reckless charge, lumberjack, kindle, 2 kindles, solar blast. Nothing that really draws me over here. In green, I have Crows and Tusker, Arrogant Worm, Genesis, Sudden Strength, Urnham Djinn, Yavimaya Elder, Elephant Guide, Wild Mongrel, Finhorn Elves. And then I have 2 Death Reap rituals if I'm green-black. Those are moderately interesting. So I'm pretty sure I want to be some combination of green, blue, and black. And it looks like I have a lot of good makings for just a regular blue-green madness tempo deck. So let's look at that. This guy is not very aggressive. I only have 1 enchantment for this guy. I think that Tangle is a great sideboard card, but I don't like it main, I think. Feels similarly about Tribute to the Wild. Elephant Guide's good, you have my Elder. I don't really like Crows and Vorine. Sudden Strength. Genesis is one of the main draws here, as is Arrogant Worm. Couple of killer whales. I don't really have enough spells for Scrivener, and I already have 5s in the killer whales and Genesis. Deep Analysis, Choking Tethers, Serendipity, Sea Drake, Manowars, Elf Familiar, Aquamoebas. And I get to play 1 more card. Another noteworthy draw here is I do have Lonely Sandbar and 2 Tranquil Thickets, and I also think Ancient Tomb is pretty good in this deck. So the last card is between Brainstorm, Scrivener, Cloud Djinn, Crows and Vorine. Really, any of these green cards would be fine. I have a lot of 4s, although this is a 2, and some of the time I'll be discarding Deep Analysis, but I don't really want the Crows and Vorine. I'm hoping to play Arrogant Worm for 3 most of the time, off Aquamoeba or Wild Mongrel. Sometimes it'll be a 5 with Owl Familiar. I'm hoping to just discard Genesis most of the time, so I could play 1 more Scrivener, or 1 Scrivener. I have Choking Tethers. It's great with the 2 repels, and okay with Sudden Strength. But I do only have 4 cards. I'd kind of like to play Brainstorm and Scrivener, but I don't think I want to cut anything to make that happen. Dreampond Druid is fine just as a grizzly bear that goes off if I draw it with Elephant Guide. Brindle Shout is good with, well, it's good against aggressive decks and decks with Chainer's Edict. I could just play a Tribute to the Wild. But I think that my other cards are weak enough that I just want to play a Brainstorm and cycle it pretty aggressively because I don't have a lot of shufflers, but I do have Yavimaya Elder and Crows and Tusker, so it actually can perform pretty well. So I think Brainstorm would be my 23rd card. A lot more good blue cards than green cards, so let's start at blue-black and then see if I have way too many cards, and then I can consider black-green. Nightscape Familiar is obviously a lot better if I'm blue. Reanimate. So it looks like if I was black-green, I'd probably have to play some weaker black cards. This deck has a much worse curve, not really taking advantage of my Night Stalkers, because they're fine. You can Manowar them for value. I guess Living Death has the advantage. Well, first of all, there's the Living Death Aquamoeba combo, and then Living Death is also good because my removal is Repel and Choking Tethers, so I'm not putting their creatures in the graveyard. And I don't have other removals, so that's nice, except for the Night Stalkers, but they have enough upside with Living Death since they are great things to bring back that that's kind of a wash. I get Aquamoeba with Reanimate. I'd probably play as my last card. I guess Paralyze works well with Living Death, but it's really bad with Night Stalkers. My last card could be like a Fledgling Djinn, or it could be a Cloud Djinn, since that's good to discard in Living Death. I don't think I can while I have Tusker and Yavimaya Elder for fix, my good black cards are all double except for Reanimate. I don't think I want to just splash Reanimate, although it's not completely unreasonable. I have Bad River as a small advantage to this deck, but overall I think that this deck has less. I'm not taking as much advantage of these like aggressive blue 3-drops as I am in the blue-green deck. So I think I prefer the blue-green deck, but I could certainly see sideboarding into the blue-black deck against someone where Living Death was particularly good. So that would mostly be someone who's killing my creature slot, I suppose. So I think this is the deck that I'm going to play. I have a lot of uses for 2 colorless mana, so I'm going to play Ancient Tomb. And I basically always play these cycling lands, but especially since I don't have a ton going on in the first couple turns. And I'm certainly more blue than green, but I think since Tusker and Elder can fix for blue, and I have more green cycling lands than blue cycling lands, and I have this colorless land, I'm just going to play the same number of sources of each color, which is this, and that's going to be my deck.